Hi, welcome to Larry's Beer First Impression Beer Reviews. So today is a beer review that I've been kind of a little scared of, but looking forward to a lot because it's one of my favorite breweries. And the reason why I'm scared is that there's really kind of an elevated alcohol content, and I'm going to do two of them. So I'm going to start off with tasting, cracking, tasting, smelling their whiskey barrel aged cherry stout, and then I'm going to dive into their 30th anniversary cherry stout reserve. So that being said, let's put this boy back down. We'll just concentrate on this guy first. So on the back side of this bottle, it describes that it's aged for up to 12 months in whiskey barrels. It's their signature stout. I've never had their signature stout, so I guess I should probably have started there. It's supposed to give it even more complex notes of oak and vanilla and dark chocolate with 100% Michigan cherries. It says that the tart Michigan cherries in a stout that will seduce the palate. Okay, well, cool. And again, Bell's artwork on this bottle is pretty nice. Got a cherry tree, a couple cherries fall out, nice red color. So I'm really looking forward to it. So let's give it a crack and see what the whiskey barrel stuff has to offer. Just a slight little hiss. Just a regular old Bell's cap. And just give it a pour. If I don't want, they suggested in a snifter, and I, of course, have my Bell's snifter. No, I'm going to just do half of that for right now. This stuff was bottled on December 5, 2017, so it's been properly aged for sure. Smell of the bottle is it's a little boozy. That's to be expected with the elevated alcohol content. I think the whiskey age is 9.3. Probably already said that. Anyway, yeah, definitely a little boozy and sweet smelling. Cherry, maybe. All right, so cheers, Bells. Definitely boozy. Definitely got that oak that they were talking about. It's got a tartness that I'm assuming is the cherry. And yeah, definitely as advertised, it's got the chocolate. The dark chocolate they claim to have. The wave of the flavors is definitely 1, 2, 3. I get the boozy, I get the tartness, and then I get the dark chocolate bitterness on the backside of it, which is actually probably, in my opinion, perfect after that little tart flavor profile that you get right away. Oak. Let's see if we can. I think I smell more oak than I taste, but I'm searching for the oak flavor, and definitely, my palate has been trained, I don't think, to really pick those up. But for sure, the tartness, for sure, the dark chocolate, and it'd be interesting to see. I should have, when I was reading on these things, went out and got their regular old signature cherry stout, so I can start with the cherry stout, move to the whiskey barrel, and then move to the reserve. But I'm scared to drink these two beers at 9%. I may end up making a third video right after this with a New Holland that I have in the fridge, which is supposed to be a dream chocolate, some kind of dragon's milk, cherry chocolate reserve type stuff as well. So, wow, that I should do that right after these two. Again, I'm almost kind of starting to like the boozy flavor up front. Boy, this stuff will destroy your palate. You don't want to go to a lighter beer after this at all. This is like okay, at the end of your flight, do this stuff. This got that boozy tartness with the dark chocolates that really set everything else below it aside. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and just finish this one here, and then we'll dive into the other one. I would say that's pretty good, Bells. Let me slide this guy to the side, and we'll talk real briefly about the other guy. So, 30 years ago, 1988 is when Bell's had that startup with their home brewing clubs, and then what became their brewery today. And one of their beers that they had tied to their earliest days was a cherry stout, as far as their home brewing club. So they've made this guy to commemorate that 30 years back when they were just like that home brewing advocate, starting to get started with their what to be one of the biggest breweries in Michigan, and definitely my favorite. I love Bell's. I don't think there's a Bell's beer that I haven't had that isn't that's like top notch. Okay, so the artwork on this bottle is basically the same tree, but really with a lot more red color up on it. I would say that I like this artwork way better than that one, because the red really pushes forward the idea of cherry. Cherry's red, label's red. All right, so this was bottled in May of this year. I believe it says, it doesn't really say on the bottle what 9%. So this is why I'm a little terrified, right? I've got a bottle of beer here to finish that's 9%, and I got one that I'm going to crack right now that I have to finish that's 9% as well. 9.3, 9.0. All right, so I love it when breweries kind of like commemorate their history, give a nod to the way they started, and I'm really looking forward to this cherry one. Now, this is not barrel aged. They changed the cap up just a little bit, just a simple cap with a cherry on it. No indication that's Bell's whatsoever. So side by side, typical Bell's, and then this cherry one. I actually like that artwork on that cap a lot. Definitely less boozy than the first guy. Very subtle, actually, out of the bottle. So let's give it a little bit of a pour. I'm going to be really aggressive, see if I can get a little bit of head on it. I don't expect to, but I did get a little bit of a head. Um, the first bottle that I had didn't really give me any kind of lacing or anything, and I don't believe this one is either. It's definitely dark beer. The nose is a little bit better after it's been in the glass, agitated this a little bit, but not as aromatic as the barrel-aged version. Which leads you to sort of like, okay, well, what's it going to taste like? 'Cause a lot of times you think, oh, this smells like this, so this should taste like this. And in a lot of cases it is. But this guy here is very subtle. That's killer. That is killer. There's no boozy with it. So the barrel aged stuff really added a flavor profile that is not in this one. But this one here, the tartness is very smooth and a mellow tartness, and it kind of sort of comes up in this little wave. You're like, oh, it's gonna get tart. I'm gonna get some real tart cherry flavors, but it sort of fades away before it hits that pinnacle. The nose, to me, I must have a bad sniffer because it's not overpowering at all. I do get a cherry sort of juice, if you will, kind of flavor to it. But this is something that you should have on your fridge when you have guests come over and say, hey, you need to taste some of this. After 30 years of making cherry stouts, I think that Bell's has hit it out of the park with this one. I'm really enjoying this. My first impressions is, yeah, I liked the whiskey, and I liked the way the three flavors rolled over, but this one is just so smooth, and it kind of lingers just a little bit on the palate. And it doesn't really change. That's sort of unique, I think. Anyway, I would give them both thumbs up, but I would say that they are not the same beer. Obviously, when you barrel age something for 12 months, you're definitely going to change the flavor profile of it. It's going to grab some of the flavors that had been deposited in the barrel from its previous container, in this case whiskey. We don't know what kind of whiskey it is. It could have been anything. I'm thinking probably it's something from the United States where they can get their hands on the barrels pretty easily, maybe a Jack Daniels or Jim Beam or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. That would be a really interesting question if there somebody that knows more than I. So anyway, as I said before, I'm just a guy who likes to throw out videos with first impressions of beers I've never had before. And being in Michigan, Bell's is like the one that I really think is like the trendsetter, and their quality is beyond reproach. So anyway, I'm going to finish this guy, and then I'm going to drink both of these, and I think I might come back and do the New Holland one. So stay tuned. So here's to Bell's. Here's to their whiskey barrel cherry stout. Here's to their cherry stout reserve. And here's to Inspired Brewing. Thanks. Come back to my channel often. Subscribe so when I make a new one that it just shows up on your screen. Anyway, I'm really enjoying doing these. I hope you enjoy watching them as much as I'd enjoy doing them. And cheers.